How to date with the intent for marriage. That's what we're going to get on to in today's episode. Welcome back, channel Lifestyle by SK, where wine, cigars, and relationships create that tapestry of extraordinary experience. And as you always know, I absolutely love having these type of conversations because I'm trying to most definitely spread much more of some positive information, as we know, on YouTube, to basically let people and shine the light, just open the window on the possibilities of what is out there in terms of you all that are looking to get married. So when we are we dating with the intent with marriage in mind, or like being intentional, or are we just dating for fun and convenience? Now, these two questions can definitely, people have strong feelings on both sides. Let's take the obvious. The average person, most of the time, that is in they just graduated college, they're just getting into their career, they are dating for fun. They absolutely want to just go out, hot girl summer. They want to go hang out. Everybody wants to be with whoever they want. They just want to be free, unshackled, and have fun. But at some point in time, you start getting closer to your 30s. You begin to really think, "Hmm, should I be getting with someone and really start building my life?" Because when you look at it two ways, one thing I have noticed, especially when I was in college, I noticed a lot of my non-black friends, and non-black friends, I've had people, friends from many different countries, but particularly for the sake of this video, we'll go with white, we go with Asian, we would go with African. I noticed that they were getting with people early on and finding the person they want to spend the rest of their life with in college. They was latching on to somebody. The ladies were latching on to a guy who maybe was getting into a promising career. But then I noticed with the black women, the sisters, they were much more single. So they had the option to date whoever that they wanted to absolutely date. Then I began to think, what is going on here? Like, are they getting, like, does the quality of person that you're dealing with and the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, does that even matter? Are they kind of just going with the flow? And I noticed one group was going with the go with the flow mindset while the other was getting ready to plan their life. So as time went by and they was getting ready to get married, they began to start knowing their self and what they wanted later on after college. So once they got into their career, I began to notice before we reached 30, some of our friends had kids that was like 8 or 9 years old, whereas with some of us were started kids started coming to play after the 30. So we're looking at now between 30 to 35. And as we all know what happens at 35, because that wall is there. It's scary for some people. But unfortunately, are you setting yourself up to be ready for marriage? Are you working on your emotional, personal, and financial stability? Because the goal is that while you can most definitely get the six-figure jobs, you can make the career, you can drive the nice BMW, you can get in a Mercedes, but that can only last for so long. Like, what will you do after retirement? Because your kids are not your retirement plan. Your retirement plan should be when you get out there and you work, you are have a family structure together, and that you build with someone. Like, ladies, you build with your husband, you build with that man. Fellas, you have a lady that's there that wants to build a family with you, a family unit, so that you all can create that nuclear family. That is what we are missing. Like, we have to really look deep in the values and characters, the faith, the lifestyle, the person that we're dealing with, and ask ourselves, how do we want to move from that point? We have to avoid chasing just based on attraction. And fellas, I get it. You see a beautiful lady out there and you lose your mind and you want to cash in and cash out. But it has to be an equal accountability on this standpoint. So what needs to happen is the ladies need to understand that there are average men that walk by you every day. You focus on the men who you know that are going to be there, that you can see, you know what, I can definitely see that this man, he has comes from a good family. He's going to be a great provider in many aspects, more than just financial. Fellas, you see a lady that you know that will be a very good wife. You know that she's going to be very nurturing to the kids. This is somebody you know that you can spend the rest of your life with. That's what we have to get to know so that we can make it to that point and be ready. Because you have to understand what are the non-negotiables. You have to understand that you're not choosing just based on attraction. But I understand. No, nobody wants an ugly person that they want to spend the rest of their life with physically. I get that. That's a no-brainer. But some of you all are out here chasing these nines and tens, but you're not on that level to do just that. Like we're too focused on the looks. I mean, of course, we definitely want the women to be fit. We definitely want them to be fit feminine. And it's fine if they're average looking people. And that's gonna happen on both sides, but we have to make sure to date with clarity and a purpose. Like, what is the purpose of you getting into this particular relationship? We have to be upfront with our intentions. Maybe sometimes it takes, you know what, are we getting into this relationship to kick it? Or are we getting into this relationship for a possible marriage? Because what needs to happen, you don't need to waste time. You don't need to waste time on people who are avoiding commitment. Ladies, if you're dealing with a man that's out there, you're unsure, just ask. Ask and figure out what his intentions are. There was one video that I did about, sometimes the ladies need to let their families vet the guys that they're dealing with. Fellas, if you got sisters and aunties out there that you're close to, maybe they need to start vetting the females that you are dealing with. This needs to happen on both sides. Like they used to happen back in the day. But see, we live in a new generation where people are so tied to these that their families don't even know each other. People are dating faster and quicker than ever. Like people used to only date what was in their city. So say, for example, if you was in Little Rock, Arkansas, you only dated people that was on your block or around in your city. You maybe dated somebody across town. But people from Little Rock, Arkansas can now date somebody in Miami, Florida just by FaceTiming them on the phone. And that's the age we live in. So the women and men are going beyond their block instead of meeting people that's locally where they are. And see what happens is when we used to date people that were in the community, other people knew of who that person was. So your homegirls may have been like, you know what? He talked to your cousin over here. Leave this guy alone. Fellas, your homeboys may have seen her date somebody else. So you know what? She's not the type of girl that you think she is. Like we need that to start happening. So that way we don't continuously have the kids born out of wedlock. That is what we need right now. We need clarity and a purpose in this. But the serious but natural questions is that you should be asking somebody, especially if you really like them and you really think that's going to go somewhere. It's the first question you should definitely ask and should consider is, do they see marriage in their future? What does that look like? Then the next question that you should follow up with it behind it is, what are their views on family and responsibility? Because see, sometimes the person that you're dealing with could separate you from your family and alienate you. So that way they can then could potentially start mentally abusing the person that they're with. And that person has nobody to fall back on because they left their families. And see, we see this all perpetuated in the movies. You definitely see it in the Tyler Perry movies, The Diary of a black woman. So she moved into a real nice house, she was alienated from her family. But the reality of that actually happening on an everyday basis in society is not likely, but those kind of things happen. But that's when you have to make sure that you have a deeply rooted family where you're able to have these conversations and move these type of things around in, because that is absolutely necessary. But we have to be understand that actions over words is, are the person that you're dealing with, are they consistent and are they reliable? Because that way you will start to see the red flags, the time wasters. You want to avoid people who are inconsistent. One day they're serious, next day they're distant. They won't answer texts, they won't answer calls. Then you Don't ignore commitment, um, for phobias. Like, for example, let's just see where this goes. That's just very vague. That's a waste of time. We don't need that. You don't need that because you deserve way better than that. If you're truly looking for a spouse, fellas, you're looking for a wife, ladies, you're looking for a husband, a man, you don't need to be seeing just where this goes. You also want to watch for emotional instability. Does the person that you deal with, do they get angry? Are they manipulative? Do they show some forms of manipulation by getting you to do things that you know that you never have done and that you know you shouldn't be doing? And lack of accountability. Are we holding each other accountable? Meaning, if we can get into this relationship, we're talking about getting into marriage. I need to understand, do you know your expectations as a wife? Fellas, do you know your expectations as a husband? We have so many examples and videos out here that show so many different sides, but it seems to be one-sided. It's we see the mad black women all over YouTube and all these bad videos, but where are the positive videos that's saying, before we come together as a union, what is our responsibility? What is our roles? That's what we need to most definitely get back to, because you have to be patient and stay true to the information that you know that is right. There's a right and wrong. Do not lower your standards out of loneliness, because the right person will come your way when you are ready. So there may be instances where the man makes decent money, ladies. He's average everyday working person. Pay their taxes, get the W-2s, 1099s, whatever it may be. Every man that you deal with, ladies, is not going to be a business owner, not going to be an entrepreneur. You definitely don't need to lower your standards out of loneliness, but you need to make sure that you are focused on the right person. The right person could be the average person that you're walking by every single day. The right person is not always the high-end six-figure guy, but you want to be able to surround yourself with friends who are like-minded, who are marriage focused. So what that means is that if ladies, if you are married, you keep your single friends out of your marriage. Fellas, if you are married, you keep your single friends out of your marriage. Now, what happens is, if your single friends are dealing with someone, they're in a relationship, maybe you may be able to slide some insight and some wisdom and some knowledge into them to hopefully get them to that point where they one day will become married. Because it's nothing like having single people around that start infiltrating what you have going on and putting weak mindsets into your spouse and turning them into something else that you know that they are not, and their intentions are turned the different way. But we have to make sure that we, in a marriage, build a life together and not just having a wedding. Because those of you that spending tens and thousands of dollars on a wedding instead of putting tens and thousands of dollars in the investments of your marriage, like into your home, or saving that money so that you all can build your life together, don't focus so much on the exclusive wedding. Focus on each other. If you say, hey, we got a budget we're going to set for our wedding, set a budget for it, stick with it, don't go beyond it. You're not there to please the people that's going to just come there and eat and drink. You all need to put that money towards something much more effective. So I want to leave you with something here, and I want you to really think about it. Definitely post in the comments, as you always know, in the videos, because I like to just get people's perspective here, how people think. But are you dating with the clear intent, or are you just going with the flow? Definitely let me know in the comments below, because I like to hear from people. But I want to encourage you all about this. What is the biggest challenge in dating for marriage? Let me know in the comments below. Like, listen, subscribe. Lifestyle by SK, where wine, cigars, and relationships create that tape shift extraordinary experience. As you always know, you all have a good one.